Biotech's Health and Wellness Show. Today we feature Raman Singh. He's the CEO of Juniper Biologics. Juniper Biologics is a science-led healthcare company that's focused on researching, developing, and commercializing novel therapies. It's headquartered in Singapore, but they have commercial operations in China, Japan, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, as well as the Middle East and Africa. So they've got a global footprint. But to tell us more, Raman, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. Good evening.
Good evening. Raman, could you give us an overview of Juniper Biologics and its history?
Well, yeah, sure. Juniper Biologics was founded in 2020, and the reason for creating, and I'm the founder of Juniper Biologics as well, because I saw an opportunity in my prior company of acquiring three assets, all three in the space of oncology. And that was the genesis of Juniper Biologics in 2020. And I took a year to raise capital that I needed. And we got our first investors into the company in December 2021. And subsequently, we've got additional investors during the course of 2022. Today, we stand tall, having a portfolio of 9 assets within the company.
Now, walk us through your 9 axes. You started off with oncology, but then obviously you have also moved your focus onto oncology, supportive care, gene therapy, as well as rare diseases.
Yeah, so the vision for Juniper Biologics has always been to focus on specialty care company, and the reason being that it is a niche. Its competitive landscape in this area is limited. The patient population is smaller, but the returns are significantly higher. So oncology and oncology supportive care was natural because those were the first 3 assets that we acquired. Subsequently, we acquired a skin cancer drug, which is again in the area of oncology, and also we have got tumor profiling, which is also in the space of oncology. So there are 5 assets in the space of oncology. Then we moved into gene therapy. We acquired an asset for osteoarthritis of the knee, basically knee pain. And this one shot, you avoid knee replacement. So a significant market. Currently, the trials are ongoing in the United States and in Japan. And our last acquisition was in the space of COVID-19. From a company called Shionogi that they launched the drug this year. We acquired the rights for Singapore, and we are extending the remit to cover Asia Pacific as well as Middle East.
Now, this is quite interesting. I want to zoom in on just one of the areas that you talked about, gene therapy and the negating the need for knee replacement. That's a big market that not many people are aware of, but especially given the demographic trends around the world, particularly in our region, that's obviously going to be a better and better market. Walk us through that particular acquisition and where you see the opportunities.
And for us to get into gene therapy, the reason was very personal. Actually, I lost my mom 5 years ago. And before she passed away, she had extremely difficult time with her knees. That the treatment, which was hyaluronic injection, used to give her a temporary relief, but the orthopedic told us that she will have to go into a knee replacement. So she went in for a surgery. She needed both her knees replaced. So she started with the left one, and the rehab was so difficult that she couldn't just accumulate courage to get the second knee replaced. And it's a huge issue that we have globally, but especially in our region. With a lot of aging population that we have within Asia, we actually see this as a huge unmet need. And I was involved in my previous life with actually launching a product in Korea, which is exactly the one we acquired for our region, where we saw that one injection, and basically, at least we have data for 8 years. That 8 years, we don't need any knee replacement, and we kind of extend a pain relief in the knee for up to 8, and the data is still being gathered for looking beyond 8 years. So that encouraged me to actually acquire this asset, which is under phase 3 development in Japan, which are about 200 patients, and about 1,080 patients are under trial in the United States, which are being done by the principal company. So that kind of motivated me. The product is expected to get launched in 2027. And you're right, Brian, the market is huge. It is untapped market, and we see a very nice sweet spot that between the first treatment that we have using hyaluronic injection, this coming in between hyaluronic injection and knee replacement. So once you give that injection and you don't see the relief, then this actually gene therapy kicks in, and we see that there is a place, a wide landscape, and this will fit into a huge unmet need.
Okay, now I want to talk then about rare diseases, something that is not on the radar a lot of healthcare systems, but for the small slivers of population that are impacted, it's really a significant burden, and it's a key challenge to actually afford care. Tell us about what you've acquired, what are the assets that you have, and how you're going to make a difference to patients.
Yeah, so let me give you an example. One of the assets we have is for skin cancer, which is under registration. It's expected to get launched March of next year. Just to give you a sense what the prevalence is, it's 0.06% in essence. A population of 5 million people, there will be 30 patients in a year. So it's fairly limited. Certainly the big players, this is not of an interest because you don't get the revenues that the big pharma players are used to getting. And this is where I see that a company like Juniper, it makes a lot of sense. It's a small enough patient population, but when you add all the developed market or developing market, it becomes sizable for a company like Juniper. Even a $30-40 million revenue for a product for us is significant, and that's what we are targeting. It's an area where price of treatment is relatively high just because the development cost and the cost it takes to bring these medications to market is fairly high. There is a significant amount of need because this small population all but they need this product quite a bit because there is no treatment regimen. And that's prompted us because the competition is fairly limited. Not everybody wants to get into it. And that's what motivated us to get into the area of rare disease. And in fact, we are looking at a pipeline today, and most of the pipeline is in the rare disease area.
Now, so this is interesting, and just by having the conversation with you, it's starting to be clear what your business model then is. Because really, if we just look, even though you're a global company, even if you look at the unique challenges of in healthcare around Southeast Asia, you're attacking quite a few interesting niches. Walk us through some of the what does the market looks like in terms of novel therapies in the Asia Pacific region?
Yeah, so one thing that I was very clear about is I wanted to set up a biotech pharmaceutical company that focuses on innovative medication. That doesn't go into the area of generics because you have Chinese players, Korean players, Indian players that are significantly have penetrated themselves very, very highly in the space of generic. In other words, products that have lost patent life. So I wanted to focus on innovative care. And within that, then I wanted to establish a geographic footprint where we can uniquely position Juniper where nobody has ever positioned. So I wanted to focus on Asia Pac, Australia, New Zealand, and Middle East Africa. You have a lot of companies that focus on US, that focus on Europe. But if you really look at the geographic footprint that we have created, you have a number of Japanese companies that focus on Japan, number of Indian companies, Korean companies, and Chinese companies that focus on their respective domestic market, but nobody really focuses pan-Asia, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand. So that was the geographic footprint that we wanted to establish. Then we wanted to look at assets that actually can make a significant difference. So when I look in the space of oncology, Akynzeo, which is for chemotherapy-induced nausea vomiting, is the gold standard. In this year, just this particular category will cross $40 million for us. Next year, we're looking at $55 million. Just these. And the patent for Akynzeo goes all the way up to 2042. So you've got almost 20 years ahead of us that we are looking at. And we believe that the number of oncology patients, as they get more and more diagnosed, especially in Asia, Southeast Asia, you will see that the market is just going to exponentially grow. When I look at Ledaga, it is again in the area of skin cancer, a rare segment, but an important one. If I look at COVID-19 infectious disease, in fact, the product that we have is best in class. To give you a sense, Shionogi launched this product in Japan after Pfizer and Merck, so it was third to market. This is an oral pill, nothing to do with injections that all of us have taken. This is it's an oral pill, and already they have got a market share of 60% in Japan.
So that is basically you've got the rights to that in the region.
I've got the rights to that product in Singapore, and now we are looking at expanding it for the rest of the region.
Okay.
And then gene therapy, of course, is the big. I mean, every company likes to have a moonshot, and for me, the gene therapy asset is that moonshot because once that product makes to the market, it will change the complete picture of Juniper Biologics. Today, I mean, we are forecasted without gene therapy of being hundreds of millions of dollars. With gene therapy, it'll be billions of dollars as in terms of revenues.
So the biotech industry is well known for being an industry with a very long gestation period. The space that you're biomedical, biotech industry, all of you take a long time to basically mature. What's your strategy in terms of funding the business until you get to the sizes that you talked about?
So let me give that answer in two ways. First, the biotech industry has changed significantly. If you just look at COVID-19, the companies that created the vaccines, nobody had heard about it. Nobody had heard about BioNTech until they started collaborating with Pfizer, and Pfizer was basically a distribution partner. The innovation took place in BioNTech or Moderna. These were companies totally unknown, suddenly came into limelight because they created a vaccine. So biotech industry has changed significantly. Companies like Juniper, they are very well positioned to innovate and to create. On the investment part, in 2022, we had Sylvan, which is a private equity company headquartered out of Singapore that invested in us. In April of 22, we got UOBVM, which is a venture arm of UOB Bank. They came in and they funded. I don't need funding to run my operation because we are a very profitable company on the whole. So this year we will have revenues of about 40 million and EBITDA of close to 35%. So we are very profitable. Our operations that are ongoing, we don't need money to fund those operations. I need money for inorganic growth. That means to acquire assets, and that's where I need capital. At the moment, we are well positioned. We are not in need, but every 12 months, there's always, okay, fine, let's do another fundraising. It does two things. One, the valuation of the company grows, increases. Secondly, we get the funds as well. So it's a validation on two fronts. And I think so far, 18 months, fairly young company, it's 20 months into operation. We are doing very, very well.
It sounds like a fantastic roadmap ahead for you. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors moving forward. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that, especially if you're in biotech or healthcare space, everybody was flocking towards the tech space, and we have seen what's happened with that. This is a wonderful period of innovating and getting into the healthcare and tech space. But at the same time, I think three things I would like the viewers to keep in mind. The three most important thing is the products that you actually bring into the company, they need to make some kind of a difference in people's life. Fortunately, we are in the industry that we actually touch lives not only of the individual that we are treating, but especially in this part of the world where the whole family gets involved, we are touching people in a significant way. And it's very, very important that you bring in products that actually can make a difference. Second, you need to make sure that you associate yourself with the right partners that will invest in your vision and believe in funding and maximizing the potential of the company. It's not 1 year, especially this space. It takes longer time to bring the product to the market. Once the product comes to the market, you get a number of years to be in the market. But it's really, really important you get partners who believe in your vision and who can fund it. And thirdly, the people and the team that you build absolutely need to make sure that these individuals that come into the company are all singing from the same hymn sheet, especially when you're a startup. I always worked in big pharmas and mid-sized pharma companies, but when I started Juniper, and I was the only person, I was running from making a coffee at the same time presenting to boards, trying to convince them why to invest. So I think it's really, really important, not only you as a founder, but the people that you build in, they don't come in with saying, what is my job description? Job description will get written as you move along, and and things will get added on. So it's really, really important, at least in the first 3 years, that you have the right people to share the vision that you have created for the company.
Raman, it's been a fascinating conversation. Thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
We've been speaking to Raman Singh, the CEO of Juniper Biologics out of Singapore. I'm Brian Fernandez on BizTech's Health and Wellness Show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.